Hello, I'm John Eldredge, and welcome to the Ransomed Heart audio podcast. For more information on Ransomed Heart Ministries, our resources and events, please visit us online at www.ransomedheart.com.
Brotherhood. What is it? How do you foster it, nourish it? Those are good questions. I mean, we long to be a part of a company of men. This is Craig McConnell. At a recent men's conference, Morgan, John, Bart, and I were asked the question on brotherhood. And what you're going to hear here on this podcast is our response to that question. Hope it encourages you.
Brotherhood. Brotherhood. How do you preserve it? How do you preserve it? How do you protect it? How important is it to you?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably one of the 2 or 3 most important things in my life. And the short answer is you have to fight for it because it is so freaking opposed in so many ways. But I find so much life there, and it gives me life, and hopefully I give some life in that. And it helps sustain me in my marriage because it's you guys that I go to that help me in those dark moments and can see me on those days when you say, hey, you're riding a little low in the water. What's going on today? I would perish without that. So it's vital.
And how do you protect it? How do you preserve it?
Well, I think I have to just stay with it and live in it. And again, you have to fight to live in it. I mean, it kind of comes back to that. I mean, all of those are kind of connected with each other.
They are. Yep.
Yeah, John, I'd say it is so fiercely opposed. I mean, it's just one of the top categories that's so hard to fight for. And there's every excuse in the book, and I'm guilty of it. But I would say that it's by having an unbalanced life. I turned 30, sought counsel from a bunch of older men about the decade, and one of the guys spoke really well into my life to say the goal isn't a balanced life, but it's unbalanced life, erring on the side of what are your priorities and realizing that they will cost you. And it's really helped me because I have a couple men that are also in their 30s, young kids, busy jobs, and it sacrificed my time. It's late nights, hanging out. It's early mornings, sacrificed my money through gifts and different time activities out, sacrificed money, time, sacrifice my solitude by inviting those guys into my workouts when that's really a treasured time. But hey, that's the slot I have, so invite those guys to come with me for the bike ride, for the run. So it's acknowledging that it's sacrificial every step of the way.
That's fascinating that you say it's one of the most fiercely opposed things in your life, isn't it? And one of the most desperately needed, absolutely desperately needed. How do you fight for it? How do you preserve it?
Yeah, boy, there's 2 things I'm struck by in you asking that. One is, the sense of just wanting you guys and others that I count as brothers to know how much I appreciate this. And then I think I would almost answer that the way you answered the marriage question, time. I mean, you have to, you guys know my routine, you have to go into your office. How are you doing? You have to kind of make the rounds. You have to be together, whether it's watching basketball or praying fiercely over something in your life. Time together is essential.
I don't claim to do either of these 2 things well, but the thing that God has made so clear to me in this is I have to let go of my false self. My false self is the very thing that's in the way of brotherhood. It just is. It sends all the wrong messages. It sends all the wrong signals. It's not offering the real me, and therefore I don't experience the real brotherhood while that's in the way, you know. And the other thing that God has just keep bringing me back to is love. I'm speaking now for myself, but I've observed this to be true for others as well. I think love for a man feels foolish. It feels like the most unproductive, vulnerable, unpredictable, unmanageable accessory to life. It just feels like there are so many other things that are far more compelling, reasonable, worthy, safe. And I'm just so aware of, I fight love. I fight against it. I'm great at warfare. I'm great at busyness. I'm great at courage. I think I'm pretty good at sacrifice. I think I suck at love. And I think it's because I fear it. I fear it. It's way too vulnerable. It's way too out there. And yet it's the very thing. What else is there? I mean, come on. What else is there? Right? And with Stacy, you know, men drive for efficiency. Men drive for productivity, right? And then God says love. Love. And for me, that's sure what preserves brotherhood for me, in my experience.
John, on the false self and just how that gets in the way, can you give an example of just what that looks like for you?
Oh, well, my false self is I don't need anything and I don't need anyone. And so, I mean, let me try and think of a number of immediate examples. Today, we're sitting up in our lodge and we're praying and we're talking about the evening, the afternoon, where we're going tomorrow, that kind of thing. And I'm getting hit with warfare. I can feel it coming against me. And I'm starting to get this pressure on my head and I'm starting to feel very discouraged and accused. What I would normally do is pray against that myself. I wouldn't admit that I'm going down and I wouldn't ask for help with it. So for me to repent is to stop and say, I need some help. I need some help. So I'm not sending the message, I don't need anyone. I don't need anything, you know. And then I think just opening up, just the efficiency thing, you know, when you do ask me how I'm doing, there's a choice immediately. And the choice is go for the quick answer so I can get back to what I'm doing. Right? Or open up. Open up and actually let you into my life.
Yeah. John, when I told that story about you losing Brent, I was just praying for you as I told that. I mean, before I went up there. But, you know, like I said, I didn't know Brent, but I was around him enough that weekend to know there was something really deep between you two guys because you guys had journeyed a long time. And that's what I want to fight for in you is to get back to that.
Yeah, and it's a choice to allow it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a choice to allow it.
Right.
You know? And it's a very conscious decision, you know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I go to self-protection. Right?
Well, we're going to keep fighting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's Ransomed Heart podcast. And again, if we can help you with resources, or you need more information about who we are and our message, please go to ransomheart.com or our iTunes store.